Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS, presenting to you the daily quiz for 21st of November 2022. But before we begin, here is an important announcement. If you haven't joined our Telegram channel already, do join in. Here, you will get current affairs updates, revision articles, quizzes, and also updates about all our new initiatives. To join our Telegram channel, click on the link in the description box below. Now let us begin and take a look at the first question for today. Consider the following statements with respect to great knot recently seen in news. Number 1, it is a small wader and smallest of the calidrid species. Number 2, it is classified as critically endangered in the IUCN Red List. Number 3, it is an international migratory bird that travels vast distances between the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. How many of the given statements is or are correct? What is the context? This article in the Hindu newspaper today talks about great knot. See, the great knot, which is a small wader or a shore bird, has been sighted in Kerala's coast and also in Gujarat's Jamnagar after having migrated for about 9,000 kilometers. These birds stay in the Yellow Sea region and Thailand in Southeast Asia before they move towards their winter grounds, including the peninsular India. Now let us discuss more about the great knot. See, this bird is the largest of the calidrid species and it is distributed in far northeast Russia, coastal Australia, Southeast Asia, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan and Eastern Arabian Peninsula. Their breeding habitat is tundra in northeast Siberia. And this tagged bird spotted in Kerala's coast is an evidence to the fact that these birds travel long distances between the northern hemisphere breeding grounds and the southern hemisphere summer feeding grounds. Now coming back to our question, statement number 1 becomes incorrect because they are the largest of the calidrid species. Number 2 is also incorrect because these birds are classified as endangered in the IUCN Red List and not critically endangered. And statement number 3, as we discussed, is correct. Therefore, the right answer to our question would be option A, one statement only, because the question is asking us for correct statements. Moving on to question number 2. Consider the following statements with respect to Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Number 1, it is the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. Number 2, it is located in the Donbas region. Number 3, it is the only nuclear power plant in Ukraine and accounts for 1/5 of Ukraine's annual electricity production. How many of the given statements is or are incorrect? What is the context? According to this article in the Hindu newspaper today, powerful explosions have shook the area around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in the backdrop of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. And both these sides have traded blame, saying that the other side shelled the area around the power plant. And hence this question. Because certain places and news are important from your prelims perspective. Now let us discuss more about this Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant as we discuss the answer. See, this nuclear power plant is the largest power plant in Europe. It is located on the banks of Dnieper River, just 200 kilometers from the conflicted Donbas region where Russian-backed separatists and Ukrainian forces have been fighting. See, this region covering Donetsk and Luhansk is known as the Donbas region, and the nuclear power plant being discussed here is just 200 kilometers away from this region. The Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant accounts for about 40% of the total electricity generated by all the Ukrainian nuclear power plants. Also, it constitutes 1/5 of Ukraine's annual electricity production. Please note that the Zaporizhzhia is one of the 4 operating nuclear power plants in Ukraine and has been in operation since 1984. So when we take a look at the question, statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 becomes incorrect because it is not located in the Donbas region. Number 3 is also incorrect because this is not the only nuclear power plant in Ukraine. Since statement number 2 and 3 are incorrect, the right answer to our question would be option B, 2 statements only, because the question is asking us for incorrect statements. Moving on to question number 3. Twin balance sheet problem is a result of number 1, over-leveraged corporate sector, number 2, under-leveraged corporate sector, number 3, growing fiscal deficit, number 4, bad loan encumbered banks. Choose the correct option. Why this question? This article in the Indian Express newspaper today discusses why the world is bullish about Indian economy. This article here discusses various reasons why India continues to be one of the favorites of global investors. And it is in this article that there is a mention of the twin balance sheet problem that India had faced. And that is why we've taken up this question for discussion. So what exactly is this twin balance sheet problem? See, twin balance sheet problem, as the name suggests, deals with two balance sheet problems. One with the Indian companies and the other with the Indian banks. So it is a twofold problem for the Indian economy which deals with debt accumulation on companies, as a result of which they are unable to pay interest payments on the loans. As the companies fail to pay back principal or interest, banks are also in trouble. They have high amount of bad loans or non-performing assets on their balance sheet. To put it simply, the twin balance sheet problem refers to a situation of over-leveraged companies or companies with high debts on one hand and the bad loan encumbered banks or banks with huge amount of non-performing assets or bad loans on the other hand. So going back to our question, the right answer here would be 1 and 4. Therefore, the right answer is option C, 1 and 4 only. Here's a task for you for today. Let me know in the comments section what twin deficit means. Do post your answers in the comments section. Moving on to question number 4. Which of the given statements best describes the SVASTIK initiative recently seen in news? Option A, an initiative of the Ministry of Panchayati Raj to facilitate survey of villages and mapping with improvised technology. Option B, an initiative by Niti Aayog launched in the aspirational districts for disinfection of water and removal of pathogenic microorganisms that cause waterborne diseases. Option C, an initiative by CSIR NISCPR to conserve and communicate on India's scientifically validated traditional knowledge. Option D, an initiative of the Border Roads Organization to educate children of casual paid laborers. Why this question? This article in the PIB today has a reference to the SVASTIK initiative of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, National Institute of Science Communication and Policy Research. And hence this question. To give a brief background, the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research or CSIR is spearheading the efforts to collaborate with relevant partners from across India and implement the national initiative on communicating India's scientifically validated traditional knowledge. As we all know, India has a rich legacy of traditional knowledge and practices. To ensure that traditional knowledge and practices with scientific backing is effectively communicated to the public, the CSIR NISCPR has launched this initiative with a brand name SVASTIK. SVASTIK stands for Scientifically Validated Societal Traditional Knowledge. And as a part of this initiative, simplified creative content on traditional knowledge is being disseminated through digital platforms in English, Hindi, and also different regional languages. Therefore, the right answer to our question would be option C. Now let us take up a previous year question from Prelims paper 2017. With reference to the religious history of India, consider the following statements. Sautrantika and Sammitiya were the sects of Jainism. Number 2. Sarvastivadin held that the constituents of phenomena were not wholly momentary but existed forever in latent form. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? See, the importance of studying about Buddhism and Jainism for your UPSC examination cannot be emphasized enough. This is one such question on Buddhism that appeared in your prelims paper in 2017. Here, the Sautrantikas and the Sammitiyas are Buddhist sects or Buddhist schools. So first statement becomes incorrect. If you know this, you can eliminate option A and option C. Now, Sarvastivadin is also related to Buddhism. The Sarvastivadin believes that all things exist and exist continuously in the past and the future as well as in the present. So statement number 2 becomes correct. Therefore, the right answer to our question here would be option B, 2 only. Now let us take up the fact of the day for today, which is Network Planning Group or NPG. The Network Planning Group constituted under the PM Gati Shakti initiative has recommended 250 critical infrastructure projects to different ministries since October 2021. Since this snippet from the text and context segment of the Hindu newspaper today has a reference to the Network Planning Group, we will be discussing more about this topic in our Fact of the Day segment today. See, this PM Gati Shakti is a mega project by the Government of India to provide competitive advantage for manufacturing in India. It is also known as National Master Plan for Multimodal Connectivity. And this PM Gati Shakti initiative has a three-tier structure. Number one is the empowered group of secretaries. Number two, network planning group. And number three is the technical support unit. Here, now we will focus on the network planning group. Now let us understand the role of this network planning group. So all the logistics and connectivity infrastructure projects under Gati Shakti that have investment of over rupees 500 crore are routed through NPG or Network Planning Group. These projects include many connectivity linkages of rail, road and also last mile infrastructure projects for sectors such as agriculture, food, steel and coal. So this network planning group with the heads of network planning division of all the connectivity infrastructure ministries and departments is responsible for the unified planning and integration of all the proposals. It also provides assistance to the empowered group of secretaries. See, this empowered group of secretaries is headed by the cabinet secretary and consists of secretaries of ministries as members. Another role of network planning group is provision of guidance to all the departments and ministries that are responsible for creation of economic zones and connectivity infrastructure during the planning phase itself. The NPG also provides coordination between various different ministries and departments, which is crucial for achieving integration of infrastructure projects. So its role basically is to enhance optimization through modification, through expansion and also through new network creation. It will ensure that there is no duplication of work and there is a holistic development of a region. And through its micro plan detailing, it is expected to ensure reduction in logistic costs. That is all for today. Thank you for being with us. Keep watching and keep learning.